everyone, and welcome to The Balancing Act. I'm Olga Villaverde.
And I'm Montel Williams. Today, how Fisher House Foundation is helping veterans' families while their loved ones recover.
I love this story. And the scientific advancements in the staging and diagnosis of lung cancer.
The Balancing Act begins right now. Well, Fisher House Foundation is dedicated to serving those who have served our country.
That's right. Fisher House builds comfort homes where military and veteran families can stay free of charge while a loved one is in the hospital.
Ken Fisher, Fisher House Foundation Chairman and CEO, is here to tell us all about it. Ken, thank you so much for being here today, sir.
Thanks for having me, Montel.
So, Ken, let's talk about Fisher House Foundation and its origins. Where did it start? How?
Back in 1990, it was brought to my late uncle, Zach Fisher's attention that there was this basic yet underappreciated need that families of those who wear or have worn our nation's uniform had no affordable place to stay if their loved ones were receiving treatment in a hospital, whether it be DOD or VA. And Zach, you know, being the kind of guy he was, wanted to be part of the solution, not somebody that just pointed out problems. And so Zach said, look, I'm a builder. I'm an I have access to an architect. I can do this. And so that was the origin of the program right there. It was one man, one conversation, one idea that has now grown almost into what will be soon 100 houses.
And you're really involved with them.
Well, you know, for 100% complete disclosure, I am on the board of trustees for the Fisher House Foundation. I have been for now almost 14 years. This has been probably one of the proudest associations I've had in my life. Oh. Part of it is because of what they do. Most people do not understand. Our veterans, or not our veterans, but our servicemen and women don't make a lot of money. So let's say, you know, there was an 8-year period of time where we were seeing body bags come back every day and guys coming back, flown in, they stay in Walter Reed in the hospital. But for a family member to go and visit them, where do they stay? And so that's where Fisher House fills in the gap. They are there to allow the family members to stay for free, and you don't understand how much joy it brings their heart. But for the veteran, what better way to recover than having the support of your family?
Absolutely.
And you know, one of the special things that happens inside these houses is, you know, they're not just free lodging. I mean, that takes a lot of the burden and the financial stress, obviously, away. But what happens inside the houses, and Montel has seen this because Montel's been there, is a support system forms inside each and every house. And so the families will lean on each other, they'll support each other, they'll share the joy of the good days and the sorrow of the bad, because unfortunately not every story has a happy ending.
Sure, of course.
But at the end, they know that they're not alone. They have commonality of circumstance. They are going through something that only they can appreciate. And so having them, you know, as each other's caregivers makes them better caregivers, and ultimately makes the patient a better patient.
Absolutely.
Ken, can you tell us a little bit more about like the facilities and the programs that are offered?
Well, the facilities themselves are set up for long stays. We've had families stay in houses almost a year.
Wow.
We've had families go from one Fisher House in the Department of Defense. When they transition to the VA, they'll stay in a VA Fisher House. So we've had families stay in houses, you know, for over a year, year and a half. The houses themselves are like any private home. I love seeing families' reactions when they come into the house and they say, is this for me? This is where I'm staying? What separates Fisher House from a hotel is when you go home to a hotel and you shut the door, that pretty much ends your association with the outside world. But what sets Fisher House apart is when you come home and you had a rough day and you want to decompress, but you want to do it with people that understand the kind of day that you had, all you have to do is walk downstairs and go into one of the common areas, the kitchen, the living room, the dining room. They sit together, they eat together, but they support each other. If one family has to run to the hospital 11 o'clock at night and they were doing laundry, another family will finish the laundry. I've had families come in where their food has been wrapped up and put in the fridge for them for later. we say that this is where the family healing starts.
Fisher House also provides other services. You've got a scholarship service program and all kinds. Talk a little bit about it.
When we expanded in family-oriented ways. So we're a family organization, and that's where we're staying. That's our lane. And so what we've done is we expanded into a program called Hero Miles, where people can donate unused frequent flyer miles to us, and we in turn will buy tickets for family members so they can go back and forth, because life doesn't stop for a family going through this medical crisis. We've got a hotel program that operates much the same way, except with donated credit card points. We also have 3 scholarship programs. We've got one for military children that we administer with the Defense Commissary Agency. We have one for military spouses, and we have one that President and Mrs. Obama helped us start, a legacy scholarship program that is geared towards the children of 100% disabled or those who have given their lives in the line of duty. So it's an amazing road that we've been working on.
It's really important for us to hear from some of those families that you've helped. Take a look at this.
I'm the soldier first and then an athlete. I've had the fortune of staying at a Fisher House on 3 separate occasions. The first time was after I was in Iraq. The second time was after I came off ECMO life support. And the third time was when I had my left leg amputated. The love and support that I got while I was there changed my life. I had my brothers and sisters there to educate me.
He spent 3 months in the VA hospital here in Charleston, and that's how I came to stay at the Fisher House. I took him to Walter Reed, and he spent 2 weeks there, and that's where they did the genetic testing and found out exactly what it was.
Conveniences of being at the Fisher House is the hospital is just right across the street. If you have numerous appointments there during the day, you can just leave your car here and walk right over to the hospital and not have to worry about trying to get a parking place over there. I want to be here for my husband and always will be.
What beautiful stories. Final thoughts, Ken?
Well, I tell you, as we hit the 100th house, that's a milestone to be sure. And that will happen in 2025. But for the 500,000 guest families that have stayed in the Fisher House to date, we've saved them now over $600 million in lodging and travel. And, we continue to find other ways to support these families through our foray into adaptive sports, the Warrior Games and the Invictus Games, where we sponsor the Family and Friends programs. But, the one thing that I'm most proud of is that 93 cents on that dollar will go towards where you want it to go, which is helping our veterans and our military servicemen and women. And we've gotten 20 straight A+ ratings from the charity watchdog groups that are out there. So.
And it's so good to hear that. 93 cents are used for this purpose. Everybody always wants to know, where does my dollar go? Well, now you know.
So Ken, where can people go if they want to get more information?
It's fisherhouse.org. It gives you a variety of ways to get involved. You can donate, you can volunteer, as you've done so many times. Lots of different ways to get involved, but these men and women deserve our help.
Absolutely.
He said donate, but I'm going to say it again. Donate, donate, donate. Come on now. It's the real deal here.
It is.
I'm sorry. Thank you so much. And of course, if you want more information, you can always go to our website, thebalancingact.com.
Absolutely. And we'll take a sneak peek of Fisher House Foundation, and then we'll be back after the break. And thank you for what you're doing. Kudos to you, too.
Thanks, man.
Until August got injured, I'd never heard of the Fisher House. It made it very easy to be there to support my brother.
August had 20 surgeries. I don't know how my family all could have converged without the Fisher House. It provided a shelter.
Family's the only thing you have, really. Them being there for me when I needed them to be. It's irreplaceable.
Hey, today we're talking about the advancements and innovations in the diagnosis and staging of lung cancer.
According to the American Lung Association, about every 2 minutes, someone in the United States is diagnosed with lung cancer. Every day, lung cancer takes the lives of more than 357 of our friends, neighbors, and loved ones. Now, there is hope as more Americans than ever are surviving lung cancer. While the disease remains the leading cause of cancer deaths among both women and men, over the past 5 years, the survival rate has increased by 22% nationally to 26.6%.
Additionally, it has increased at a faster pace among communities of color, such that it's no longer significantly lower compared to, let's say, Caucasian Americans.
That's right, lots to get to. So joining us is Dr. Eric Flanaugh, Director of GCC Advanced Diagnostic and Interventional Pulmonary Service, Director of Lung Nodule Clinic at Grady Memorial in Atlanta.
Thank you so much for being here, but you've got some good news, right?
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yes, sir.
Yes, we've made a lot of advances in lung cancer, especially as it comes with screening and the diagnosis and staging. We know if we can diagnose earlier and get them staged into treatment earlier, the rates of survival increase like you were mentioning.
Doctor, we were able to connect with your dad in Dallas, Texas. Eugene, thanks so much for joining us. So can you share your journey with us? Tell us what happened.
Okay. What happened was I joined the military in '62. During the early parts of the Vietnam War, back in '65, I was in Southeast Asia. While I was in Southeast Asia, I got sprayed with Agent Orange. The cancer didn't show up then, but it took over a period of time, along with other ailments that Agent Orange caused. And so what transpired was every year I had a CT scan. And that CT scan always came back negative. But my primary care over at VA, he kept noticing one spot. And so he set me up for a PET scan. And it's a very small amount. And it showed up that that one spot was starting to have some activity. I got scared. So I called Eric. They did the biopsy. And when they did the biopsy, it came back with squamous cell carcinoma.
You know, it's really important to have these standard tests, but these standard tests don't always give all the answers, correct?
Correct. So a lot of the standard tests, even some of the screening tests, are a CAT scan or a PET scan. But we started to realize that those are only pictures of the chest. So you can see a spot, what we call a nodule or lymph nodes, and you're really sure, especially if there's other underlying diseases, as my father's case, if that's related to the other lung disease or if it's actually related to the cancer. What you actually have to have is tissue to tell that if it's cancer or if it's infection or if it's scar tissue. Those are the important things. Now these newer tests allow us to diagnose by localizing where this lesion or this cancer, this nodule may be, and also to stage the lymph nodes. Lymph node staging is extremely important because it tells you whether or not it's spread or it started to spread. And the only way you can tell whether it's truly there, the pictures don't help, you need some of the tissue.
So tell me more about this technology. What is it called and how does it work?
It's called endobronchial ultrasound. And basically you have a small ultrasound probe which can actually tell you exactly when you're close to the spot that you're trying to biopsy, whether it's in the far reaches of the lung or it's in the lymph nodes in the center of the chest. And once we can localize exactly that position, then we can get our biopsies and know that we're getting the target we're aiming for.
Doctor, I was reading here that Olympus, and I believe that's the company that first started microscopes and cameras, so they're behind this technology?
Yes, with respect to this technology, they have been on the forefront of it for about the past 20 years. They initially came out with probes that helped us find these lesions in the lung, and now we can accurately diagnose in the center of the chest and get the lymph node staging.
Well, let's take a little break. When we come back, let's find out how EBUS is really helping patients now and helping you guys with what you have to do.
Absolutely.
We'll be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back, everyone. We're continuing our discussion as we're learning why EBUS-TBNA is recognized as the gold standard in diagnosis and staging of lung cancer.
And doctor, this was used on your dad, correct?
Yes, it was. In 2019, he was found to have right in his right upper part of his lung, adenocarcinoma of the lung. They used technology to navigate to the spot and confirm that he had cancer in the upper part of his right lung, and then to stage him through the lymph nodes in his chest.
Let's talk a little bit more about your dad. I mean, what happened after his diagnosis?
So after the diagnosis, the time clock starts ticking. And this is where I really had to step in and just kind of push it along. We know that if we wait from the time that you're diagnosed to getting the treatment, more than about 30 or 40 days, then you really need to start staging again, because these cancers can spread and double in size very quickly.
Doctor, I was reading here that Olympus is partnering with the American Lung Association, which I think is fantastic. It would be safe to say to help patients really become aware of the importance of, finding the diagnosis, staging, and treating, and even becoming their own advocate, right?
Yes.
For themselves. You were obviously helpful because you're a doctor and you love your father, but one really has to own it too. Won't you agree?
Absolutely. And I think the best way we can do, that we can help people achieve this, is to educate. The other thing that I really think is important, is I encourage the patients to do, is to take somebody with you when you get that diagnosis. And they need to stay focused, because that time clock is ticking.
Right.
We need to keep moving.
How instrumental was it to have your son there, helping you by your side?
Eric is my doctor. I'm glad that he was there in order to help calm me down. I have a soulmate, which is his mom. We've been married 59 years. We celebrated that 20th of June. We have 3 sons, morning, noon, and night. But there's a lot of things a significant other cannot comfort you on, but a doctor can if you let them know. And that's exactly what I did. I let him know. And he guided me there. It's sort of like holding my hand on my first day of school. And I'm proud and thankful.
How are you doing today?
I'm good so far. Come the 20th of January, it'll be 5 years. I still have my port in for the infusions, but I'm glad. And I thank God for Eric and technology.
He sounds great.
We sent my daughters down there, and they spoiled them and sent them back.
That's what grandparents are all for.
Yes.
Well, thanks so much for being with us today, sir. Look, we're going to continue talking to your son. You got a great son here, by the way.
I thank you for your time, and I thank you for allowing me my time. Thank you.
And doctor, this technology obviously is very helpful. It was very helpful for your dad, but ultimately patients need to consult with your doctor, correct?
Yes, absolutely. Consult with your doctor. And then I would say find a place, if you have a spot that needs to be diagnosed or staged, find a place that has this technology available. Because I know in one procedure, I can walk in, I can go to the peripheral spot that looks ugly, and we biopsy and we know it's cancer, and in that same procedure, I can use the other EBUS scope and I can stage them. So now I have diagnosis and staging done in one procedure.
Get it all in one shot right there.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for being a part of the show today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, sir. Of course, if you want any information, you can go to medical.olympusamerica.com or medical.olympusamerica.com/EBUS solution.
And of course, you can always go to our website, thebouncingAct.com. We'll be back right after this. Well, thanks so much for joining us today.
Remember to head to our Facebook page, like us on Instagram, follow us on X, and visit thebouncingAct.com to enter our latest sweepstake or giveaway.
There you go. And stay safe. Love that family of yours. We'll see you next time.